What's up, everybody? Welcome to this week's episode of Cross Pond Golf. It's we've been thinking about how we're gonna run the show. I'm not gonna say we're ill prepared. We're just gonna jump to it we're on our Monday. Uh, Usually we just hop in on golf, happy talks, happy thoughts. I think we also can finish this show that way, but there's obvious blurring thing that's covering all of golf, and we'll also talk about that too. So, welcome to this week. I'm your boy Eric. We got Craig, and I think we got some things to talk about, bud. How's it
Yeah,
going today?
not bad. Missed you last week. There was a few bits and pieces that I needed to kind of tidy up this side of the pond. But I did listen. I thought Hunter filled in admirably for me. He's not getting my seat, and he's not getting my seat on this podcast though. If that's his angle. But but no, I thought it was good. I was away at the dentist earlier on, so I stuck it on in the car to go down the road. I thought it was a good show, and I'm quite keen to try and get a team together to come play in that competition that he was talking about last week.
Yeah, I mean, I know Hunter well. Like I said, I talked to him on the meetings and stuff, but I also talked to him personally, and I just know his drive. He also just motivates me throughout the whole process, and has been a big backup in with all I'm doing too. And so he's just good people to talk to. He obviously showed up and showed out on the show, and like I mentioned on the show, it's actually hard to it's not easy to podcast, not easy to put all your words and your thoughts together and produce something that people want to listen to. And I thought it was a pretty good show. It was a good listen.
Yep. No, it definitely was. And yeah, I suppose it's quite poignant for what we're going to speak about today. Obviously, the kind of sad news over the weekend that Grayson Murray having to we withdrew on the Thursday and no, the Friday after his Friday round, and then we find out on the Saturday that I think his parents had released the press release to say that he'd taken his own life. So I don't know a lot about Grayson Murray. I was aware a couple of years ago that he had a bit of a Twitter spat with Kevin Na. He kind of featured there when Na was leaving for Liv. But other than that, I've not really heard much about him. I know he played in the Korn Ferry Tour. He had a win earlier on this year in the Sony Open. But it just seems to be, since this has happened, there's now a bit of an outpouring, and we're hearing some stories about him. I think he was one of the good guys. Obviously had some demons, which we can get into. But yeah, very, very sad that happened, the news on Saturday.
Yeah, it's tough, man. It's hard to look at it. You could look at it from a bunch of different lights. First off, you got to look at it from his man, life can be difficult, dude. And we've seen it, people outspeak themselves, like Harry Higgs after he took down the Korn Ferry tournament this week. He spent a moment to say some good things, and I liked what he represented and what he said, and just say something nice to somebody and love, and and this is obviously abbreviated, but say something nice to somebody and love, but also say something nice to somebody you don't know. Compliment somebody you don't know, whose life you could change in the moment. We saw how it affected, for instance, Peter Malnati. We know of him from winning the Valspar at Copperhead right after I was there this year, and as amazing as that was, he's just seems like a good dude, and representing his family and his kids in that tournament. And then to see that he played with it, Grayson, Thursday and Friday, and then unfortunately withdrew. So people like that have to carry that on their shoulders. And then there's the blurring, obvious. Yeah, he had a brother and a sister, parents that cared for him, and people may judge or think differently. I don't. I've suffered from substance abuses, and I've suffered from mental health issues, whether it be military or just life is difficult and can be depressing. And it is hard to talk to people, but it is important. I find a solace in being able to talk to all of you on here, and Craig. Like we don't talk about a whole lot of super sensitive stuff, but it is just me putting my voice out and saying stuff and just thinking about good and happier thoughts. Like you don't always have to be in your own cave, your little own man cave, your own lady cave up in your brain, dude. Or you could let out some secrets, let out some questions or statements for help. And on the other side too, as much as we keep hearing and people say speak up and say something to somebody, talk to people, I think it's also important to be able to take that. You have to be the person on the other side and put yourself in some shoes that may make you uncomfortable. But you have to be a good person and do some morally right sometimes, because there are people that are searching for people to ask or for somebody to talk to, but not everybody looks very open, especially in the world we live in right now. So I would also add on to what Harry said, and be the person who's open, or be the person who's asking for somebody to tell you if everything's okay. Ask somebody if they're okay. Yeah, asking for people to listen to you is tough, but it may even be even tougher to be that person that asks somebody if they're just okay, because
Yeah,
that's okay too.
yeah, exactly. I've not ever had. Well, I don't think I've ever had. You know, any of these type of. I've not been down that road. Personally, I'm quite an open person anyway. I'd like to think over the last year when we've been doing this podcast, I'm quite honest to a fault sometimes. Whatever's in this head of mine, I tend to let out. Which, yeah, I suppose that's just my way of the way I've been. But there is a lot of people that can't open up and don't have anybody that can speak to. So if we play a small part in that we can make a bit of a difference. People are struggling. We had a vid. I'm on kind of a group chat. I don't think the boys will mind me talking about this. I'm on a group chat where a load of the dads, and one of the guys posted there was a video put out by Wolverhampton Wanderers, who are a football team, a soccer team for you guys. Last a couple of months ago, about a month ago, and it's basically a guy. He turns up outside the ground and he stands with a sign that says suicide and poor mental health are more common than we admit, and suicide is the biggest killer of men and women under 35 and of men under 50. If you need it, give me a hug or stop for a chat. So the video, which I will put on our links and stuff later on, is really powerful. It's about an 8-minute video, and he's blindfolded and he just stands with this sign. And the amount of people that come up to him and say, thanks for raising awareness of this, or I've suffered this myself, and then they're able to get them help on the back of it, because there probably is a lot of people out there that don't know where to turn and where to go for help. So on our wee ticker on our YouTube, we've put a number of organisations. We'll make sure they're all putting the links for getting sent out for the podcast. So if anybody is struggling, there is people out there to help. And I've included our Instagram handles and stuff as well, as we always do. So if anybody is listening to this and they do need a bit of help, then by all means hit us up and we'll see if we can point you all in the right direction.
Yeah, totally. And on top of that, I just want to make sure that I responsibly establish, like, there are other also emergency hotlines, and also hotlines built off maybe a filtered whatever you are, whether you're man, woman, or other. And anything else, religion and that kind of stuff. There's certain hotlines that could be dedicated to that. I advise looking those up separately for yourself, just in case. But also, like, I think it's as important as 911. If you're in emergency, it could affect a lot of people, as we see in Grayson. So, but one of the in United States, you can call or dial 988. If you're a veteran, please, extension 1 on 988. There's also just individual hotlines from state to state, and then there's the national number as well. Those are The national hotline is 1-800-273-TALK. So hit dial 8255, which represents talk, and that I'll kind of take you to a different version. There's always somebody to talk to. They're actually, specialized in that field. So I'm not saying don't talk to anybody, but if an emergency or you may just have some questions, like reach out to somebody who knows about the situation, who might have some proper advice. Steer clear of things that will and this is just from my perspective, but steer clear of things that can alter your state of mind and put you in a more depressive state. Alcohol is a depressant, drugs are mostly depressants, and you should steer away from anything that just alters your state of mind, especially if you're feeling in a way. Talk to somebody, be somebody's helping shoulder or leaning shoulder to lean on. And yeah, I think that's covers for me in this portion of it. Obviously, Grayson Murray, rest in peace, brother. Uh, nobody should go through that, and I feel bad for his family, and hopefully, uh, the world could learn from this.
Yep. And like you said, it's the other people as well that's affected by it. I did see the interview with Peter Malnati as well. That yeah, he was obviously mega cut up, but he's just spent a good couple of hours with a guy the previous 2 days, and completely unaware that something like that was going to go on and happen. Earlier in the year, I think I did a wee 20-minute ramble one time where we needed to kind of open up and talk. And now this is a bit of a generalisation that guys are worse than women for doing that. And I suppose it is true. So all the advice that we've got on here is for, as you said, it's for everybody. But, I don't see why going for a game of golf, you can't potentially open up. You're 9 times out of 10, you play with your mates. It's the same kind of group that you've got. If you notice that maybe somebody's been a bit quiet recently or whatever else, just ask them what's going on. You don't need to necessarily wait for them to come and volunteer the information for you. If it's you're with your pals, they're your boys for a reason or your girls for a reason. So like I said, reach out and ask them if they're doing okay. So echo the sentiments, and we're hearts go out to the family of Grayson Murray and things. I think he was due to get married as well, so relatively soon. So it's a knock-on effect that all that has. So
there's no like telltale timeline. Everyone's timeline's different, and there's no he had just won a tournament this year after going through all his battle. Has had some what he claimed to be was sobriety points up a tier around the Sony, and maybe fell back off or whatever, and that's just not for me to judge or question. The results will, whatever will happen, but yeah, it's just it was a disease, and it's not to be hidden behind, it's not to run away from or hide. Yeah.
I think I think we've got the point across there, Eric, that people do care. So just reach out if you need to reach out, or as you said, be the kind of shoulder and somebody to cry on if they need it going forward. So
right. Well, so moving on from that, let's just mention, let's get into the actual Charles Schwab. They were able to continue forward. I'm not so hot on maybe what I think there was a weird thing that what's the commissioner's name again?
Jay Monahan.
Yeah, I got lost in the whole talk, but so Jay Monahan coming out, and there was the well-known spat between Rory and Grayson, and kind of Jay Monahan, where he was just telling him to get his stuff together with Liv and like all the talks and all this kind of stuff, and then he came out and just I liked that he came out, and obviously I think PR says he has to say something, but he came out and said PGA Tour is a family, and I just think that's a good time to drop the label, and I think golf is a family, and I think he missed it on that one. I think like we had Bubba come out and say something and all that, and I think golf is such an already small family, and I just think golf was the answer there. But beyond that, they were able to push the tournament forward. Davis Riley won. Basically, he had that lead going in on final day or Sunday, and had to go against the monster that is Scotty Scheffler right now. He was jail free this week, so You can't. There's no hard time excuses, I guess you could call. It
Yeah,
didn't really show. He came out and tied for second. Scotty still played well, even on not his best week, and a couple of bad rounds can cost you a tournament. And Davis Riley, um, he didn't go super low, but that course was tough. The Charles Schwab, what is it called? The Invitational? No, the Charles Schwab.
yeah, it's
Uh,
invitational, is it not?
I forgot what they kept calling him, but anyway, it seemed like a tough course, and Davis Riley didn't go super low on final day, but was able just to hold off Scotty, not let him take the tee box, and just keep putting it down the middle. And congratulations, this is his first victory as solo.
Yeah,
So
gets yourself a
yeah.
nice tartan jacket and a nice new car.
Yeah. Well, this
Yeah,
isn't this one of those things that we talked about anyway with the Zurich and taking away, maybe take like Rory and Shane taken away from people because Riley and who did he win with last year? Um,
Nick
well,
Taylor
they
was
won.
it?
Yeah, so they won last year,
Yeah,
right? But um, I would assume that that tournament even kept Davis Riley into the opportunity to even get to this tournament. Because they were
yeah,
already
probably.
saying how he's fighting for to keep his spot or to remain keep his tour card really at the point that he won this tournament. So say that he didn't win the Zurich teammate tournament last year with Nick Taylor, then they might not even have been there. I
Yeah,
mean, that's crazy.
yeah. Well, obviously, I was absent last week, so I missed it. So that Scottish Sheffler thing was wild, eh? I mean,
Oh,
they keep releasing all this footage that's coming out, and he's driven through some parking cones, right? It's what it seems to be, and then this overzealous cop has jumped all over it. Practically, I've seen some of the beam things where it shows you like the cop jumping on the, or it's like a guy jumping on the car pretending to be the cop, and yeah, I think the last story I'd seen with that one though is that the cop's been let go. He's been relieved of his duties because he's had a number of kind of violations of his of his badge. So that is an interesting one. I personally don't think Scottish Sheffler's going to do any jail time. Um,
nah.
but obviously, your laws are slightly different to how things operate over here with all this
Well,
second
well,
degree battery
so
and
off of he said, she said, innocent until proven guilty. I'm not too sure how that applies here because he ended up going to jail, but it was a felony offense. Basically, what the cop had accused him of, didn't have his body cam on. Um, we're starting to see now obviously the phone footage we saw the first day from one of the guys coming up, and then now we're starting to see, I think it's building footage or security footage from the
yeah,
building or it's streetlights or something that shows obviously that this cop was, as you said, overzealous, or in my words, being a Richard. Let's just be real, like that's crazy, dude. It didn't matter if it was Scotty Scheffler or just a normal bystander. Like he
yeah,
was looking to go bonkers on somebody, and it's pretty embarrassing and bad look on him. Um, Officer Gillis or something. I'm not trying to blast him out, but like, dude, come on, man. Like, some people turn their like that's what body cams are scary for too. Like you're just supposed to believe them that they got it on. I don't
yeah.
know. I don't want to get all political on this dang episode
But
either, so we'll just leave it at that.
what's the story with the orange jumpsuit side of things though? So if he's taken to the station while they're investigating it,
Yeah.
right? Should he have been put in the jumpsuit already? That was one of the things
Yeah,
I'd heard
so
that
it's a
it's not
felony. I
policy
mean,
to
they're saying that he hit the cop or the cop was dragged. At this point, it's a felony. I forget what the actual, assault with the motor vehicle or something.
right.
But at this point, it's a felony, so you definitely have to go to the jail, and then you need to get bonded out. So that's what I think happened. So I think he has to go to jail, and then he's basically they gave him. He went through the check-in process, and he's at this point a felon, right? Like, or accused of being a felon. You're not a felon. You're not charged until you're like, the court case is done. But at this point, you're a, you know, detained but bonded
Yeah.
personnel, right? And
Yep.
then I'm sure he went there, they paid the bond, and then they just start, fought it in court. And obviously the camera in video has, starting to prove more on the side of Scotty Scheffler. So then, that's why they're starting to drop certain things or blah, 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 or give him an alternate choice. But, it's pretty clear that the cop's in the wrong, especially after being fired. I doubt anything happens. And then at the end of the day, I'm sure they could even sue. I'm not sure if that's what the route they'll take, but maybe if they did, they could give it to some police awareness classes or something. I don't know. But uh
Body
again,
cam checking.
none of my business again, but yeah, it's another crazy week, another drama filled week. Last week or in the week before, we had Rory divorce, and then Scotty Scheffler being the criminal, and then the unfortunate Grayson news. It's like really like a soap opera going on through the PGA right now, and it's, man, I just like to see some good freaking golf, and some heavy duty played tournaments where we see some stuff come down to the wire. So like even this one, like this just plays another part into the Scotties. Like, he got exciting because he accidentally got arrested. Like,
Yeah,
he like it almost seems like the perfect storm for him just to stay number one for longer, so he's like, oh, he's got some beveled edges, but in reality,
makes them more
yeah,
marketable.
yeah, it does make him more marketable. I was like joking about Liv, who it had to be Liv officer behind this,
Yeah.
trying to steal his stuff, but uh
So
no, it's
on,
just, I mean, what I was saying is like this tournament was still boring, dude.
yeah.
Like
So
Riley took the, yeah, go ahead.
on live then, right? So obviously I never spoke to you last week, right? But Bryson made a good run at it with the PGA. I like Bryson. I've not got any issues with him now, and I think everybody's kind of view of Bryson. I don't think he was ever one of the bad guys. When he went to live, everybody expected him would be the type of person that would go to live. So I don't think he was ever one of the bad guys. But I think he's done his reputation no harm. The way he's been acting recently, and his play. So he finished his second. Was he second in the Masters as well? Was he? I think he was second in the Masters,
I think
or
so. Some
top five,
top
and
five.
then top five, and then second in the PGA, and then you've got Richard Bland winning the old dude's version of the
Yeah.
PGA this weekend as well. So my question to you now is playing a reduced schedule
Absolutely.
still hurting these
Oh,
guys, or is
no.
it actually helping them?
It's helping,
It's
man.
helping.
Like, let's be real. Like, the guys, there's just no reason, if they were that separated in talent, that there's zero reason. Oh gosh, don't do this to me. Oh no. Golly. All right, my camera went out. So anyway, I'll keep talking. But if they were that awful, there's no reason these dudes should be holding up and playing that well.
Yeah,
And just, I mean, well, Richard Bland is the Cleeks, and I just think it's like, well, I don't know where the name came from, but it's like, is it Chappin Cleeks or is it Clappin Cheeks? No, just kidding. He was definitely out there chapping cleeks there on the senior tournament there, and just he's solid, dude. I mean, especially for the older dudes. I mean, a reduced schedule has to be better for him.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Um,
Have you watched any of Phil Mickelson started doing a YouTube series, and it's called like Pros versus Schmoes, and he gets like
yeah,
two average club golfers. Well, I said it was average club golfers, right? One of them's off of one, and the other one's off of two. So,
yeah.
Phil, if you want a real challenge against the Schmoes, come and get us high handicap, 18 handicap guys that spray the ball all over the planet, and then give us some shots and see what happens. But yeah, he's playing these two guys, and it's basically Mickelson's attempt to, and his time just to rip the piss. That's what we would call it from here.
Yeah.
Out of these two guys for the 9-hole, but actually it's quite entertaining. I quite enjoyed it, and I think a lot of the live guys, they're all starting their own channels now. Ian Poulter's obviously got one with his Majestics, and they did the whole series in the run up to it start. And the Shambo's got his YouTube channel, which is actually quite a good watch. Mickelson's now got the same with his high flyers. So um, I actually think they're probably enjoying the freedom now of not being kind of bound by the PGA rules and everything needs to get signed off by someone, and they're just kind of free to go about their business. I mean, don't get me wrong, the Phil Mickelson thing was clearly just a plug for his wellness brand, because that's what he was giving them if they won a year's supply of wellness coffee and something else. I'm sure they'd rather had a signed driver head or some lessons or tickets to something rather
Wellness
than
coffee, like
some
I don't know.
wellness
I don't
products.
want no coffee, bro. Like I
No,
don't know.
exactly. Some
That's
wellness products from Phil Mickelson, but yeah, I know. Like obviously at the start, we thought, oh well, they're not going to be playing and they're not going to be as competitive. But if they're only playing 3 rounds and they're getting time off in between them, and they seem to have set their schedule so that they're like free for 2 clear weeks before they play in these majors, is the way it's looked. Then yeah, the ones that are in have to be looked at. You know, you can't ignore them. I think it's definitely a good thing for them now.
Yeah, definitely can't ignore them. And I would go as far to say, definitely here to stay. Kind of crazy that we're just still talking about this. It's obvious who's over there. They're obviously going to keep competing in the tournaments you let them play in. And if you don't advance the amount of tournaments they play in, they're going to, I don't know. It's just gonna keep being drama filled and it's just unnecessary. I think there's again back to like how I've always been. It's like there's room for tournaments for both of them to compete, to play against all of the above. At the end of the day, golf's one of those crazy sports. You know, it's like someone passes away and everyone gets kind of together, but at the same time, it's still like there's like one of the few locker rooms that it's everybody versus everyone. It's 1v all, like
Yeah,
uh so now we're taking a 1v all and we're turning it into now a team oriented against a 1v all. And PGA's, I don't know. That's like a recipe. That's a winning, a winning recipe for live, in my opinion. I mean, they're getting people grouped up to beat the individual, and
yeah.
yeah,
But
yeah,
speaking of people that are winning, I don't think the LPGA were on this week, but last week certainly Nelly Corda won again. So I know you kind of covered it at the end of the show last week, and Rose Zhang was the one that stopped her getting 7 out of 7, wasn't it?
yeah. Rose came out. There was really two. It was separated. There was two players in the LPGA last week. Rose being one of them, the winner, and another golfer. I forget her name at this point. It's been a crazy week, but they were separated by quite a bit, 10 strokes about, I believe. And then Nelly was leading up that backpack. I think she was tied for fifth or tied for third. I don't remember which one, but either way, she still had a good tournament. It was kind of like Scotty in this one. It was not her best of efforts or best tournaments, but she still just wound up near the top of the leaderboard, and then came back and won the very next tournament. I don't think they played this last week. Do you where they about to go? Have you seen?
I was just going to double check that just now. So the DP World Tour again, I never seen much of that this week, but it was Nacho Elvira that won it this week. They're now coming to this is the start of the kind of European swing, so they're going to be in Hamburg for the European competition this week. So it's a pretty decent field. It's got major winners in it. Danny Willett's in the field. Guido Migliozzi, we've had him before. He's been one of the winners of recent times. So yeah, this is it starting to kind of liven up over here. So we'll keep
Oh
an
yeah,
eye on that
it
one and we
looks
can
like
report on.
yeah, Nelly's last tournament was the Mizuho. She beat Hannah Green, which is the Aussie, who also just won recently. So that's another pretty big win come up, and just like behind her is pretty known people. Jennifer Kupcho, major winner, Celine Boutier, major winner, Minji Lee, multi-major winner. So just the field is just as ruthless as the week before, always for the LPGA.
Yeah.
So she got one down. Let's see
It's
who.
the Ladies Open. It's the women's US Open this week.
Hey, dang. Okay, so you think she'll come back and
Yeah.
uh,
I know that
yeah. Is
seemed
there
like an
any
easy
way
pick.
she doesn't? Is there any way she doesn't win this? Like, I mean,
No, no. How can there be? Like, she's just every time she's, well, with that one exception, every time she's teeing it up, she must be buoyed by the fact that she knows she's doing it. So she'll be competing against the same women that she's been competing against and beating recently. So that must be a major thing for her as a positive, that she knows she can beat these people, these ladies. So she's not going to have to. She's not be worrying about that.
yeah. I think she easily takes this one down. I'm trying to see who. So if she wins this, that's 2 of 4, and she has a chance still for
For a Grand Slam, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I'm just kind of seeing where, and they're in Pennsylvania and Lancaster. Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, I think Nelly takes it down. There's nothing else to really say. Where the boys at?
Yep. We'll catch up with that one next week. The guys are at the RBC Canadian Open. So that seems to be that's a pretty decent event. They always seem to do big numbers there. The footage from it looks really good. I think it's a tight packed field. Rory's teeing it up this week after his PGA disaster. So I'll be on Rory, I think, this week. I'm going for he's won it three times already. So yep, I think I'll be on Rory this week.
Yeah, I mean, it's clear they want Rory up there, and what is his name? The other Nick Taylor, and there are 2 Nick Taylors.
Yeah,
the Canadian Nick Taylor. I think he'd be an obvious one. You'd want to see just for fun, I guess. Rory's obvious, but yeah, I don't know. He came up in like this week with the all the stuff going on. So the Grayson thing, their little argument or whatever. I don't even whatever. But you think Rory, huh?
They've got Rory in the field, Tommy Fleetwood, Shane Lowry, Tom Kim, Adam Scott, Thigala, Sam Burns, and Cameron Young.
Yeah, I
Nick Taylor
like
and fellow Canadian stars Corey Connors, Adam Hadwin, Taylor Pendrith, Mackenzie Hughes, and Adam Svensson are the local boys this week.
Yeah, I still like Nick Taylor, I guess. I expect him to do well. It's pretty good.
Cool.
I'm good on that.
We'll see where that pans out from next week. So, other than that, there's not been any other major stories in the world of golf this week. It was all kind of taken over with the sad news of Grayson, obviously. And that was kind of what we wanted to touch on today, which is why we're trying to get the episode recorded and out a bit earlier. We will be back next week unless you've got anything for us, Eric.
No, man, that's it. Yeah, enjoy some golf. Hopefully, it stays positive this week. Interested to see who comes out in the LPGA, the ladies US Open. I'd like to see Nelly pull it out and possibly see a Grand Slam for her this year. Talk to somebody, be an ear for somebody. As always, good talking to you, homie. I gotta get this stupid video thing checked out because it's so annoying. But other than that, brother, I'm good. Have a good week, man. Stay safe.
Cool. I meant to say before we finish up, I'm actually away this weekend. I've got I'm playing in the Tin Cup 2024, so it's 24 guys, 2 teams of 12. We're playing at Cardrona down in Peebles, so it's 2 games on the Saturday. I think it's best ball in the morning, and it's what's the one? 2-ball foursomes? Yep, in the afternoon, and then singles on the Sunday. So. I'll report back next week. I'll give you a rundown on how that went, and keep an eye on the social media because I'm going to try and plug some of that over the weekend as well. I'll keep you updated with the scores. But yeah, same thing. Please talk, guys, if you need anything. We'll make sure we put all the links on the description, and we'll be here for you next week. We're always happy to talk. So by all means, fire us off some questions. Oh, he's come back. He's
Oh,
come
it's
back
so
just as
annoying.
we're.
I didn't even do anything. I just watched it come back on. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
you
Well,
need to
that's
get better,
annoying.
but you need to get better batteries or plug into the mains.
Dude, I'm gonna go get like I gotta figure something out. I'll
Yeah,
figure something out this week for that.
cool. Right, no
All
worries.
right.
Take care, everybody. Cheers.
Yeah. Later, buddy. You goofball. Well, look. So Craig left. Here's what happens. It's hilarious because he pushes leave